So I'm Dan Martin, I'm the first assistant at Farleigh Golf Club and I'm currently studying my level 3 at Hadlow College, and I'm the winner of the Young Student Greenkeeper of the Year award. Just satisfied. It's a really good recognition of all the work that you put into the career and studying around to try and gain that extra knowledge to differentiate yourself from everyone else. So just satisfaction in the recognition of that work. I think it's one of those where, or at least for me, if I've achieved something well, it's just it's satisfaction of a job well done, and then try and move on to the next thing. They just come up to be able to sit in on the award ceremony. I didn't know that I was going to be the winner of the award, so it was a nice surprise to be able to have them in the room for that moment. They know how hard that I've worked and the hours that we do in this job, and it's really good to be able to have something to show for that. There's a certain perception in the industry, and you go into it of you're just a grass cutter, and having these events and BIGGA as an institution kind of helps change that perception of people a little bit, and it's not just a job where you're going to turn up every day and sit on a mower, but there's so much more that goes on underneath the scenes that most people don't get to see. My college tutor recommended it to me. It's been a good opportunity, and initially it was just something that potentially I could put into my level 3 or give me some experience moving forwards. Obviously having an opportunity like this can put you in really good stead for moving forwards, and even if you don't progress further up in the competition, just having that extra bit of interview experience and engaging with some of the more senior members in the greenkeeping community can give you those useful connections moving forwards. You put in a lot, but lots of the stuff that you learn in this job isn't you're going to sit down and study on a textbook. It's going into your job every morning and taking that bit of extra interest in what you're doing, and not just going, oh, we're going to go out and we're going to spray this tank mix, but actually looking at what you're mixing up and thinking, why are we doing this? What are we trying to do with that impact? And absorbing all that knowledge puts you in good stead for something like this without having to sit over a textbook and just read pages and pages of information. They've been really good in recognising there's going to be times where we need to go away, or say in the winter when the lads might be out working, I'm going to be sat down on a laptop doing my college work or doing work outside of that. So it's nice to have the support of the lads and recognise that. And of course, manager has been really great in giving us the opportunity to be able to come on events like this and go on all the extra events that BIGGA put on, to go to environmental talks and course walks to gain that extra knowledge. We had a little bit coming up to the final events where we knew what the itinerary was going to be, so you see grass idents on that sheet and go, oh yeah, definitely going to practice on that. So it's nice having a tutor in the college where you can go, I want some resources to be able to learn from this, and they can turn around and go bang bang bang, here's some good points to study from, being like the BIGGA field reference guide for identifying grass species, and then some resources produced by Barenberg and others in the industry. I think climbing is a great sport, and it's the biggest part of climbing, at least for me, is trying to manage yourself mentally. So you put yourself under quite a lot of mental stress. So I'll climb without ropes on certain climbs where the consequences of one of those falls could be serious injury. So when you can manage your mind space doing something like that, having a few people sat in front of you in an office kind of, it makes it seem a lot smaller. Alex Honnold's definitely up there. I think he's a great guy. But for me, you go back to some of the older climbers that really pioneered the sport. So Wolfgang Gulich, or some of those characters that were around back then really stand out for what they did for the sport, and then the organisations that they've set up afterwards, and the work that those companies are doing now to try and protect the environment and protect natural spaces, I think is great. So I've climbed all over the UK. Obviously bouldering is a big part of the sport now, and the most accessible thing, and is where I started off. But I've gone from there to climbing most of the coastlines around the UK where you've got big sea cliffs, and that's kind of the special part of the sport in the UK, is you've got so much variation from the lakes in Scotland to down in Devon and Cornwall, being out on the sea cliffs. It's just a great way to be able to go around and see the country and see things from different angles that normal people wouldn't. with anything in life, you can't run at 100 mile an hour all the time. So I think if you were to try and have that much adrenaline dumping through you every day, you'd burn out really quickly. But it is nice where if I do months and months out on the golf course and I haven't done something to push myself and get those juices going, I start itching for it a little bit. I think for anyone, your future goal is just going to be try and push yourself as much as you can in the position that you're at, and then try and open yourself up to opportunities that can move in the future. Just a massive thanks to them for putting on a great event for us. It's been a fantastic opportunity to learn and expand your knowledge and network with greenkeepers and the top and the best of us that have been picked out across the country. And I hope they continue to support this event into the future and give others a chance to be able to experience what I have here.